Some of these things are going to appear to be, well, there's two items, to be completely disconnected, but there is a common thread. There's a leaked U.S. Army document. This is from Zero Hedge. And it shows that there are Venezuelan gangs, prison gangs, running amok across America. James O'Keefe got access to this. This is the write-up from so-called Tyler Durden at Zero Hedge. O'Keefe Media Group has obtained controlled unclassified information from the U.S. Army of the North America Division, highlighting the growing presence of one of Venezuela's largest criminal organizations in the U.S. The document states that the Tren de Arrega has established a presence in Brooklyn, Bronx, and Williamsburg, New York, with approximately 400 TDA members living in these cities. The CUI also warns that the TDA members in Denver have been given a green light to fire on or attack law enforcement, with Homeland Security investigations in New York receiving a similar report. The document details how the criminal organization is using advanced technology and surveillance, heightening the danger to U.S. military and personnel and law enforcement. It states, coordinated efforts between local, state, and federal law enforcement and the military are crucial to protect against these expanding threats. With the National Guardsmen recently in subway stations across New York, the situation is escalating as Venezuelan gang members linked to TDA have been involved in violent incidents, including an attack on a Colorado apartment complex in late August. Second story could seem like, wait a minute, how are you even comparing these? It comes out of California. There is a good, honest woman trying to do God's work there. Her name is Senator Shannon Grove. She went to the floor to address an issue of women's safety, and she got shut down. This is women in prison and their safety. TDA gang members don't belong here. They've been allowed into our country for political reasons, to shift the electoral college, to destabilize our cities. They've been brought in for these reasons, and it's working. This particular population doesn't belong in this prison, and yet they're there, and everybody knows they don't belong there. They're in there for political reasons, for destabilization reasons, and the reasons that Big Pharma wants them there, to change truth and what it means to be human. It's corruption across the board. You have to fight corruption at the root. The root of corruption is so very, very often money. Your retirement accounts are tied up into a corrupt model. Our financial system is corrupt. It's getting more and more corrupt. And if, God forbid, Kamala Harris is either elected or placed into the White House, it's probably going to get a lot worse, along with the inherent inflation. All the current events right now are adding up to a big, big shakeup in the financial system. This month, on September 26th, Zach Abraham is doing one of his free live webinars to talk about current events and how they affect your retirement. Zach's the Chief Investment Officer of Bulwark Capital Management, and risk management is his obsession, which he does using active management of every single portfolio, which can reduce risk and volatility. So this event will be about current events, how it affects retirement plans that are 5 years out, 10 years out, 15 years out, and what you can do to mitigate this. It's a free event, but you have to register to attend. So go to knowyourriskradio.com. That's KNOW. knowyourriskradio.com, or call 866-779-RISK. Now, because the government tells us we must, I offer you this.
Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. Any references to performance of securities are thought to be materially accurate, and actual performance may differ. Investments involve risk and are not guaranteed. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Trek 24308.
When you compare the story of the Venezuelan gangs here, they're not supposed to be here. We have a method to keep them out. It's a border. We don't use that border. They've been in schools. They don't belong in schools. Once they found out sometimes that there's MS-13 members in schools, they've actually let them stay in there. Even in one case, after a guy apparently committed a murder. Everybody knows that's not safe. Everybody knows that when you reward criminal activity, you're going to get more of it. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows that when you put men in women's prisons, you're going to have, and you're going to have pregnancies, and you're going to have STDs. In California, the fix to this has been to hand out condoms, all while pretending there aren't men in women's prisons. State Senator Shannon Grove decided to speak about this, and this is how she got treated in the state of California.
Prohibits the use of solitary confinement for pregnant postpartum women, except when there's a safety concern. Obviously, we want to make sure that all women inmates are taken care of and served. And I appreciate this bill and what it's trying to accomplish, and I agree that it will help keep prisoners, women, female prisoners, safe, like Chowchilla. I do have one problem that I think we all need to look at and address. If we're going to protect women in these prisons, we need to make sure that all women are protected. In 2021, the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations was required during their intake to ask their gender identity for inmates, and they allow them to change them fluidly, I guess. CDCR is also requires to house inmates who are transgender regardless of
Senator Grove, if you could stick to the merit of the bill, please.
Absolutely, ma'am, I am, protecting women and postpartum issues. So we have an issue in Chowchilla, and I'll just be brief, and I'd like to read a letter, if I could, from a prison inmate in Chowchilla. So this bill that we're looking at is protecting postpartum women. Women are coming up pregnant in Chowchilla, and they're coming up positive for AIDS. This bill deals with the pregnancy. I have a letter here from an individual.
Senator Grove, so long as the letter is related to the merits of the bill, incarcerated,
Yes.
pregnant.
It's from an incarcerated woman. Yes, it is from an incarcerated woman. So in brief, I'm sure I'll get cut off again for this particular bill. I had an incarcerated woman from Chowchilla Prison who's dealing with the pregnancy issue of an individual who has male anatomy in this prison. In this bathroom at Chowchilla, permission to use a prop, they hand out condoms. Why do you need condoms in a women's prison paid for by taxpayers?
I'm sorry, is permission granted?
Senator Grove, stick to the merits of the bill, please.
Why would you send out, why we would not have to worry about the pregnancy issue in prison, which this bill addresses to protect pregnant women, if we didn't pass out, if condoms were not passed out in a state prison where we have male individuals, and in Chowchilla,
Senator Grove,
have pregnancies.
this is the last warning. Your mic will be cut off. Stick to the merits of the bill.
Pregnancies that are taking place where we allow postpartum this bill protects those women after they deliver babies to be able to have time off to recover this. So I applaud the author, I support this bill, and I think we as a Women's Caucus need to do more to protect women in prison situations that we have here in the state of California. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Did you hear what she didn't say? Men. She's apparently not allowed to say men. So she showed a condom. Male condoms only useful for men. She indicated that women are getting pregnant in prison, which can only happen with a man. She mentioned at the hands of someone with male genitalia. Certainly not a man, because, of course, women have penises too. See, the Venezuelan gangs are not supposed to be here. We have a border. We recognize them as dangerous. We could enforce the border as we used to, but we won't for political reasons and power reasons. Men are not supposed to be in women's prisons, but they are. It's all destabilizing. It's all obvious. And it all has a direct tie back to a very important comparison. God is a God of order, not chaos. Satan is a being committed to chaos and disorder.